Dearest crazed rogue colony, my name is Mr. Fowl. I am a member of the Justice Union of the UK and one of the few people in the real-life superhero movement to recognise the most important fight a hero can be involved in is the fight for social justice. The name of the series is taken from the late great Alistair Cooke, a British journalist who broadcast his letters from America on the BBC Home Service, which later became Radio 4. The vast majority of this content was comprised of despair, as he lamented your nation's inability to move beyond 19th century politics. A problem, I'm sure you're aware, that still persists to this day. In this series of correspondence, I intend on opening your eyes to the effect of American ideology on the rest of the world, particularly in my own UK. Now, this first letter addresses a problem that many of you may think is a purely British one. 'Tis true, I suppose, it originated here. After all, to our eternal shame, capitalism and tabloid culture were born here. However, it is something that you, in your very American way, have taken and expanded to whole new levels. I am, of course, talking about the sensationalising of complete nobodies and pointless non-stories that distract the news from the real issues. In a crisis manufactured with the express intention of robbing the poor of the little they have left, it sickens me that both the American and British media are far more interested in a so-called Princess Strumpet being photographed topless, without her consent for once, than they are in our public services being sold off to the filthy rich private school chums of our so-called honourable members of the Commons. Worse still is the fact that they are ignoring an act of deliberate genocide being inflicted upon the disabled of the UK. Using a broken model that even your corrupt system recognised as blatantly fraudulent when it was practised by Unum Insurance in California, a failure of an IT company called Atos is declaring the sick and dying fit for work and punishing the disabled for being disabled. Fortunately, we still, for now, have the right of judicial appeal. The process is long, complex and stressful, and there is no guarantee that the criminals at Atos won't simply reassess your poor arse and start the horrifying cycle all over again. The despair and anguish of this Kafkaesque process has been directly linked to the deaths of at least 1,100 people. That's about 32 a week over the past year. The General Medical Council has called for the abolition of these so-called assessments and suspended the few genuine medical professionals Atos employs without pay. A UN monitor from Canada and the Scottish Observer to the UN have reported the ministers responsible and Atos to the International Criminal Court in The Hague and are waiting an answer as to whether the case can be prosecuted. If, as I hope it will, the case goes to court, it will be prosecuted as one of the biggest crimes against humanity perpetuated in a developed nation since 1945. So, why are the press and the politicians ignoring it? Simple. Those in power have created an atmosphere of hatred towards the disabled through the media, and the few politicians who aren't in on this scam at the expense of taxpayers' money and lives are too insignificant to have much of a voice. But mark my words, there shall be a reckoning. O folk of Hand, do not care. Though tyrants reign, do not despair. Our day shall come, we'll storm their lair, cry fair is foul, and foul is fair. I hope this little chat has been an eye-opener, and I hope you've learned, as things stand, you have to dig a little for what matters in the world's news. Now I must leave you, as I have shit to do. The fight never stops. Ta-ta!